Here's another in-depth appliance repair video from Sheen Appliance Repair and Parts. Today I'm going to show you how to put bearings on a Whirlpool dryer. Tools you'll need: straight screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver, a 5/16 and 1/4 inch nut driver, and your pair of pliers, your basic tools. Alright, now that we have our dryer unplugged, we need to take the top up. First we take the lint tray out, and if you look down, there'll be 2 screws holding the top on. You need to take your Phillips head screwdriver and take those screws out. Once we have our screws out, we need to take our straight screwdriver, and in this crease right here, we need to put that straight screwdriver in and pry up. When you put it in there, you'll feel for some supports. When you find the support, push in and lift up. You'll do that on the right side, and you'll do that on the left side. You'll find another one over there. Once we have our top pried up, we can go ahead and lift it up. Now we need to take the front off next. There'll be 2 screws holding it on, one on the left, one on the right. We take our 5/16 nut driver and we take those screws out. Those screws will be facing towards the front of the dryer. Once we take our screws out, next thing we need to do is unplug our dryer switch. So we take our straight screwdriver and we put it in that harness and pry it open. After that, we pull on our front very gently, and it should come right up. If you look on the bottom left and the bottom right, you will notice 2 clamps. These clamps hold the bottom part of the front of the dryer on. Alright, now that we got the front off, we go underneath the drum. On the right side, you'll notice a idler pulley and your motor. To get that belt loose, we need to push on that tensioner pulley, loosen the belt up, and it should come right off the motor. Just like that. And lay your idler pulley off to the side. Once we do that, we need to take the drum out. Your drum rests on your 2 bearings, one on the left, one on the right. So what we need to do is lift up on that belt, causing it to lift up on the drum as well. Once we lift up on it, we pull it straight out. Then we'll see our 2 bearings, one on the right and one on the left. One on the left will be a little bit lower than the one on the right. We'll work on the one on the left first. This one has a support on it, so what we need to do is take our 5/16 nut driver and take that screw out that's holding the support on. It'll be screwed into the bottom of the dryer. It'll have a little clamp on it, but you can take that off with your fingers. And there, it popped off. Set those 2 off to the side. Take your straight screwdriver, and you're going to pry off this little plastic piece that holds the bearing on. Little triangular plastic piece. Once you got that off, take your bearing off. Now you're ready to put your new one on. what we want to do is make sure the shaft is clean, no rust, no lint, no nothing like that on it. Then we're going to spray it with some lubricant. And while you're at it, spray the middle of your bearing with some lubricant too. And put it on the shaft. Spin it around a few times, make sure that it sounds good. Then we put that triangular piece back on. And then we put our support back on. And we put that 5/16 screw back in. Now we can work on the right side. Same thing, take your straight screwdriver and you pry that triangular plastic piece off. This one doesn't have a metal support holding it on, so you can just pull it right off after that. Wipe off the shaft, make sure there's no lint or rust on it. Spray it with lubricant and then put your bearing back on. Once you do that, put that triangular piece back on it and you'll feel where it seats in on that shaft. After this, we need to put our drum back in. So the same way you took it out is the same way you'll put it back in. Now it's time to put this belt back on the outer pulley. On the bottom of the outer pulley, you'll notice some slots that it goes into on the bottom of the dryer. You need to line it up correctly, just like shown. Now just follow the diagram here. Make sure your grooves are facing towards the drum on your belt. Flat sides facing up. You'll put the belt into the idler pulley just like this. Since it's a tensioner pulley, it will give you some slack for that belt. Then you put it right back on the motor shaft. And I'm pointing with my finger the way that the belt goes. You want to set that belt in, make sure it's lined up correctly. Spin your drum around a few times, make sure that it's on there. You'll feel the tightness of it. Make sure it's lined up correctly. Then we want to put our front on. Remember those clamps at the bottom? You want to line those up with the holes on the front of the dryer. Then we want to plug our dryer door switch back in, that harness. We want to plug it back in. Take those two 5/16 screws and put them back in the top part of the front of the dryer to secure the top part. Then we put our top down, put it back on those supports. Once we do that, we put our screws back in where the lint tray is. And then we put our lint tray back in. Now you're ready to plug it up and see if it works.